Don't scroll past this, please. I know you almost did. I know your thumb was already moving, ready to swipe away, ready to keep running through the noise like you always do, filling the silence with anything but stillness. But stop just for a moment, because what I'm about to say, it's for you. Not for everyone, not for the crowd, just you, the woman sitting there right now, maybe with a coffee that's gone cold, maybe in a quiet room where no one asks how you're really doing, maybe late at night when the house is finally still and you can finally hear your own thoughts again. I see you, and I know that sounds like something everyone says now, those empty words that get tossed around like confetti, but I mean it differently. I see the woman you are when no one's watching, the one who holds it all together during the day, who smiles when she needs to, who shows up even when she's running on empty. I see the woman who closes the bathroom door just to breathe for 30 seconds, the one who stares at her reflection sometimes and wonders when she became invisible, the one who lies in bed at night, replaying conversations, analyzing every word, wondering if she said too much or not enough, wondering if anyone really sees her anymore. You're probably wondering why I'm talking to you like this, why I'm speaking so softly, so directly. It's because I need you to hear something that no one has told you in a very long time. Maybe never, not in the way I'm about to say it. You are not forgotten, you are not invisible. And everything you've been carrying, all those quiet heartbreaks and silent disappointments, all those moments when you gave and gave until there was nothing left and still no one noticed, they didn't break you, they deepened you, they made you into someone rare, someone real, someone who knows what it means to love even when love has hurt you. But let me slow down because I know your mind is racing. I know you're already building walls, already preparing to protect yourself, already thinking, this is just another voice that will disappoint you eventually. Stay with me. There's so much more I need to tell you, and the first promise, this isn't what you think it is. Let me paint you a picture. It's early morning, the house is quiet, you're standing in the kitchen, and the light is coming through the window in that soft, uncertain way it does before the world fully wakes up. You're making coffee, going through the motions you've done 1,000 times before. Your hands know the routine so well you don't even have to think about it anymore. But there's this moment, just a flicker, where you pause, where you look out that window and feel something you can't quite name. Is it loneliness? Is it longing? Is it just the weight of another day beginning? Another day of being strong, of being functional, of being fine? You tell everyone you're fine. You've perfected that word, haven't you? I'm fine. Two syllables that can hide an ocean of unsaid things. Two syllables that can make people stop asking questions so you don't have to explain what you barely understand yourself. But here's what I know about you. Even though we haven't met, even though this is just a voice reaching out through the screen, trying to touch something true in you, I know that you've loved deeply. I know that you've given parts of yourself to people who didn't know how to hold them carefully. I know that you've been the strong one, the reliable one, the one who shows up, the one who stays. And I know that somewhere along the way you started to believe that your needs didn't matter as much as everyone else's, that your pain was something to push down, to manage quietly, to carry alone. Do you remember when you stopped believing you were beautiful? Not in the shallow way the world measures beauty, but in that deep soul level way that makes you feel worthy of being chosen, of being pursued, of being seen as precious. It probably didn't happen all at once. It was gradual, wasn't it? A series of small moments that added up. A relationship that ended. A mirror that showed you lines you didn't remember earning. Silence where there used to be attention. Feeling like you were fading while the world moved on without noticing. And here you are now, strong, yes, capable, absolutely, but also tired. So tired of being the one who holds everything together. So tired of being the one who doesn't get held. Stay with me. Don't leave yet, because I'm about to tell you something that's going to challenge everything you've been telling yourself. You think your best days are behind you. You think that the glow you once had has dimmed, that whatever made you magnetic once has faded with time. You look at yourself and see the ways you've changed, and you judge yourself harshly for it. You compare yourself to who you used to be, to younger versions of yourself, to women who seem to have it all figured out. And in those comparisons, you've convinced yourself that you're somehow less now, less desirable, less worthy of deep, soul-shaking love, less likely to be chosen. But what if I told you that's the biggest lie you've ever believed? What if everything you think has diminished about you has actually deepened? What if the very things you see as losses are actually the exact things that make you extraordinary? What if the pain you've carried, the disappointments you've survived, the loneliness you've endured, What if all of it has been preparing you for something you can't even imagine yet? I know this is hard to hear. I know you've built protective walls for good reasons. You've been hurt by people who didn't deserve access to your heart. You've been overlooked by people who should have cherished you. You've been made to feel like you were too much or not enough. And both of those wounds cut deep, so you learn to shrink, to need less, to expect less, to make yourself smaller so you'd be easier to love. But here's the truth. But I need you to hear, really hear, deep in that place where you keep your most tender hopes. You were never too much. Your love was never wrong. Your depth was never a burden. The people who made you feel that way, they simply weren't capable of meeting you where you are. They weren't evolved enough, brave enough, conscious enough to recognize what they had. And that is their loss, not your deficiency. You are not broken. You are not damaged goods. You are not past your prime. You are a woman who has lived, who has loved, who has learned. You carry wisdom now that you didn't have before. You carry compassion that comes only from having been on your knees. You carry a kind of beauty that isn't about youth or perfection. It's about presence. It's about depth. It's about authenticity. And I need you to know something else. There is someone out there who is specifically looking for you. The you that you think you need to be, not some younger, different, more perfect version of you, but you exactly as you are right now, with your scars and your stories, with your fears and your strength, with your tired eyes and your tender heart. Someone who will look at you and see not what you've lost, but what you have gained, not what time has taken, but what experience has given you. I know you might not believe me yet. I know you've heard promises before that turned into disappointments. I know you've hoped before and been let down. But stay with me a little longer. There's so much more I want to tell you about who you really are and what's actually possible for your life. Look at your hands for a moment. These hands that have held so much, that have worked and given and created and comforted. These hands that have wiped tears, prepared meals, written words, held on when letting go seemed easier. Do you see how much story they carry? Do you see how much love has moved through them? Now look up. Look at this moment you're in right now. You're here. You're listening. Something in you knew to stop scrolling. Something in you recognized that this message was meant for you. That instinct, that knowing it's still alive in you. The part of you that believes in possibility, that still hopes for more, that still dreams of being truly seen. She's still there. She's been waiting. She's been quiet, but she hasn't left. And I'm here to tell you that your waiting hasn't been in vain, that your hope wasn't foolish, that the love you have to give, the love you've been protecting and holding close, it matters. It's needed. It's wanted by someone who will know how to treasure it. This isn't the end of your story. This quiet, lonely chapter you've been living, it's not your conclusion. It's your preparation. Everything you've been through, every tear you've cried in private, every prayer you've whispered when no one was listening, every moment you've questioned your worth, all of it has been shaping you into exactly who you need to be for what's coming. So don't scroll away just yet. Don't close this. Don't dismiss this as just another hopeful message that won't apply to your real life. Because what I'm about to share with you in the coming parts, it's going to change how you see yourself. It's going to change how you see your past. And it might just change how you see your future. You're not alone in this. Even right now, in this moment, you're not alone. I'm here speaking these words to you. And somewhere closer than you think, someone else is here too. Someone who's been looking for you just as much as you've been longing to be found. I want to tell you about something that happened to you a long time ago. Something you might not even remember consciously, but your body remembers, your heart remembers. It's written in the way you hold yourself back now, in the way you apologize for taking up space, in the way you've learned to need less, to ask for less, to be less. There was a moment, maybe many moments, when you learned that your love was too much. Maybe it was a parent who couldn't hold your big emotions. Maybe it was a partner who called you needy when you were simply being honest about what you wanted. Maybe it was a friend who pulled away when you needed the most, leaving you to carry your pain alone. Or maybe it was the world itself, sending you 1,000 subtle messages that women like you, feeling women, deep women, women who love with their whole hearts, are somehow a burden. And so you learn to edit yourself, to compress your needs into something more manageable, to translate your hunger for connection into something more palatable, more convenient, less demanding. You learn to be the easy one, the low-maintenance one, the one who doesn't make waves or cause problems or ask for too much attention. But here's what that cost you. And I need you to really hear this because this is where so much of your current pain is rooted. When you learn to make yourself smaller, you didn't just shrink your needs, you shrunk your belief in your own worthiness. Every time you swallowed your desire to be held, every time you pretended you were fine when you weren't, every time you laughed off your own hurt to make someone else comfortable, you were sending yourself a message. You were telling yourself that your feelings didn't matter as much as other people's comfort, that your needs were negotiable, that love was something you had to earn by being easy enough, pleasing enough, undemanding enough. And the cruelest part, the people in your life probably didn't even realize what they were asking of you. They didn't see how much you were compressing yourself to fit into their limited capacity. They took your strength for granted. They mistook your silence for contentment. They assumed that because you didn't complain, you didn't hurt, they saw your grace under pressure and never wondered what it was costing you to maintain it. Do you remember the last time someone asked you what you really wanted? Not what you thought you should want, not what would be easiest for everyone else, but what your soul actually longed for. Can you even remember the last time you let yourself want something fully without immediately calculating whether it was too much to ask for? I'm going to guess it's been a while because you've been in survival mode, you've been managing, you've been enduring, and endurance is a beautiful quality. Truly it is. Your ability to carry on, to keep showing up, to stay functional when everything in you wants to fall apart, that's remarkable, but it's also exhausting. And somewhere deep inside, you can't keep living this way. There has to be more than just making it through another day. Let me tell you what else I see when I look at your story. I see a woman who has given so much love to people who weren't ready for it. You've poured yourself into relationships that couldn't hold what you offered. You've tried to love people into wholeness, thinking that if you just gave enough, cared enough, stayed patient enough, they would finally see you, finally choose you, finally love you back with the same depth and devotion you were offering them. But they didn't. Not because you weren't enough, but because they weren't ready. They were still learning lessons you'd already mastered. They were still running from intimacy you were ready to embrace. They were still afraid of the very depth that made you extraordinary. And when those relationships ended or faded or disappointed you in ways that still ache, when you let yourself remember, you blamed yourself. You looked for what you did wrong. You analyzed your flaws. You made a list of all the ways you could have been better, softer, more accommodating, more perfect. You took responsibility for their inability to love you well. You carried their limitations as your failures. But what if none of that was true? What if you weren't the problem? What if your love wasn't wrong? It was just offered to people who weren't developed enough to receive it. What if your depth wasn't a flaw? It was a gift that was given to people who didn't have the capacity to appreciate it. I know this is painful to consider, because if you accept that they failed you, rather than you failing them, then you have to face something even harder. You have to face the loss of what could have been. You have to grieve not just what was, but what should have been. You have to feel the full weight of being unseen by people you gave everything to. And that kind of grief staggering. So you've been avoiding it. You've been staying busy. You've been telling yourself it doesn't matter anymore, that you've moved on, that you're fine. But late at night when you can't sleep, when the house is quiet, and there's nothing left to distract you from your own thoughts, you feel it, don't you? The ache of all that unlived love, the weight of all that unreciprocated devotion, the loneliness that comes from being in a room full of people and still feeling fundamentally alone. Stay with me. I know this is heavy. I know I'm touching places that hurt, but there's a reason I'm taking you here, because you can't heal what you won't feel. You can't transform what you won't acknowledge, and for too long you've been trying to move forward without actually processing what happened to you, without actually grieving what you lost, without actually honoring the courage it took to love as deeply as you did, even when that love wasn't returned. So, let me say this clearly. What happened to you was real. The pain you carry is valid. The disappointment, the betrayal, the loneliness, the feeling of being taken for granted, all of it matters. Your hurt is not something to minimize or rush through or package into neat little lessons. It's something to be witnessed, something to be held with tenderness, something that deserves to be acknowledged before it can be released. And here's what else needs to be said. You didn't deserve any of it. You didn't deserve to be overlooked. You didn't deserve to be taken for granted. You didn't deserve to love people who couldn't love you back with the same intensity. You didn't deserve to be made to feel like your needs were burdens or your emotions were too much or your love was suffocating. You deserve to be cherished. You deserve to be pursued. You deserve to be held on your worst days and celebrated on your best days. You deserve someone who saw your depth and fell to their knees in gratitude. You deserve someone who didn't just tolerate your big heart, but treasured it, protected it, matched it with their own. But you didn't get that. And I'm sorry. I'm so deeply sorry that you had to learn to be strong when you should have been allowed to be soft, that you had to learn independence when what you really wanted was interdependence, that you had to build walls to protect yourself when what you really wanted was to be safe enough to stay open. There's something else I need to tell you about this pain you carry, something important. Are you still with me? I need you to stay with me for this part. The pain you've been carrying, the disappointment and heartbreak and loneliness, it hasn't been meaningless. I know it feels that way. I know when you look back on the years you spent loving people who didn't love you well, it can feel like wasted time, like a cruel joke the universe played on your tender heart. But what if it wasn't waste? What if it was preparation? Every person who failed to see you taught you something about what you truly need. Every relationship that disappointed you clarified what you cannot compromise on anymore. Every time you gave your heart to someone who couldn't hold it carefully, you learned more about what real love actually requires. You learned that kindness isn't enough without presence, that attraction isn't enough without emotional maturity, that good intentions aren't enough without actual follow-through. You learned all of this the hard way through lived experience, through pain. But now you know. Now you're not guessing about what you need. You're not hoping someone will magically become what you long for. You know exactly what real partnership looks like. You know exactly what your non-negotiables are. And that knowledge, as painful as it was to acquire, is going to change everything about what happens next in your life. Because the woman you are now, the one who's been through it, who's been broken and rebuilt herself, who has learned to set boundaries and recognize red flags and trust her intuition. This woman is ready for something real. Not perfect, not easy, but real, deep, honest, reciprocal. There's more I need to tell you. So much more about what's waiting for you, about who's coming, about why all of this had to happen the way it did. But for now, let me just say this. Your story isn't over. This pain you're feeling right now, it's not your ending, it's your turning point. Don't leave yet. There's still so much you need to hear. There's something I need to ask you, and I need you to be honest with me. More importantly, I need you to be honest with yourself. When was the last time you let someone see you fall apart? When was the last time you didn't have it together? When was the last time you allowed yourself to be the one who needed holding instead of the one doing the holding? I'm asking because I suspect the answer is either never or so long ago. I can barely remember. And that right there, that inability to be vulnerable, to be messy, to be the one who needs, that's the prison you've been living in. A prison you built yourself brick by brick as protection. Started as protection has become isolation. You've become so good at being strong that you've forgotten how to be soft. So practiced at being independent that you've lost the ability to lean. So skilled at managing your own pain that you can't even imagine what it would feel like to have someone else care for you when you're breaking. And the worst part, you think this is